What's good, YouTube? It's Rage Real. So in today's video, I want to show you guys this Team and Scheme series, part 18. So if you enjoy this video, go and drop a like on the video right now. Go ahead and sub and turn on post notifications on. So I believe that we are on part 18. It's either 18 or 19, but the title and the description will have the accurate number. I just can't remember right now off the top of my head. But you guys can see we are going to be using the Saints, and we're going to be using this A-slot offset. Now, quickly, why I like the Saints with A-slot offset is, for one, because they have two great offensive linemen. They have Teron Armstead, and they also have Ryan Ramczyk, which, as you guys know, they do have abilities, so you can move them around to kind of help out versus teams like the Packers, who have, two crazy defensive line, or you could, versus the 49ers, who have two star D linemen. So they're really nice because the Saints really do have a pretty decent offensive line. Now, I also like the Saints because they have Dwan Johnson, who is actually really fast, and they also do have Adam Trapman, who is actually kind of fast on here. So yeah, that's why I like using the Saints. And plus, also we have a slot apprentice. Well, he could go anywhere, but I like to use Michael Thomas in the slot. And I like to have Kenny Stills on the outside because Kenny Stills does have 91 speed. And of course, you already know about AK, which, he can get running back apprentice. And, you really don't need to use running back apprentice with the Saints, with this A-slot offset scheme. But it's just nice to have, So that's why I like it. Now, you can also put in Taysom Hill if you want to, because they do have a read option out of this. But a lot of times I like to leave J-Bo in there and just let him work. So that's how, that's the reason why I like this. Now, one thing I also do want you to keep in mind too, is that every now and again you'll flip your play. So when you flip your play and you go back and you look at the personnel, you'll notice that Michael Thomas goes to the outside, but when he's regular, when you don't flip it, he's in the slot, of course. So you can see right here. Now, if I know I'm gonna flip the play, I like to actually just go in and sub him in and out, which you'll see me do in the game. Now, quickly, I want to show you my favorite concept out of post, and then after that, we're gonna hop right into gameplay. Now, I'm just gonna go in 3-4 just because you'll either see 3-4 or you'll see 3-3-5 normal, or you'll see 3-3-5 wide. So I guess I'll go normal, just to kind of give you a better example, because that's what you're going to see. You're not going to see anybody really run any type of dime sets or any crazy stuff like that, because A-slot offset is such a good run formation that's why you're really not going to see that. So I'm just putting in some safeties here at linebackers, so that's fine right there. And then I'm just going to come out and cover 3. So like I said, this is not going to be a long drawn out setup that I'm giving you versus, and I'll show you all coverage. I probably won't do that. I may or may not. I haven't decided yet, but I'm gonna give you this one setup. So what I like to do is take X, put him on a streak. I like to take circle right here, Michael Thomas, put him on a crosser route. I like to take triangle, put him on a drag route. Now I absolutely love this route right here. Now if you ever want to try to split cover 2 or try to bomb one of those coverages, all you have to do is actually take triangle, put him on a flat. You can take X and put him on a flat route too, or you can do double drags. I mean, that's probably just the easiest setup right here. Like, you can do double drags, and then I'll show you real quick what that looks like versus cover 2. I know I haven't showed you cover 3 yet, but I use this particular dot if I'm trying to split cover 2 for a one-play touchdown, which I'll show you right here if I can stop getting hollered at. Yeah, you can tell I'm getting hollered at, but you can tell a lot of times you can actually pass these square up the field. Or if you just want a simple bomb for cover 2, you can literally just run a PA post shot and just run it stock, and then stock bombs cover 2. And I'll just show you that only one time here, but yeah, it bombs cover 2 naturally. So that's all you have to do, just like I said, snap the ball. You can tell square is actually going to be able to, does it bomb cover 2? Anyway, so if you want to bomb cover 2, because dang, this is why my videos be drawn out, because then I have to redo stuff. So anyway, last thing I'll tell you about, if you want to bomb cover 2, you can just take circle, put him on a crosser, and that'll work too. Or you can actually just take him and motion him across if you wanted to. So you can take him, put him on an out route, small route is out route, and then actually you can just end up bombing cover 2 this way. Simply because that safety is going to be able to get wide and out. Notice how the safety slides, and I got it out of range, of course, but you get the picture. So I just wanted to show you can bomb cover 2. I don't even know why I did all that time explaining that when that's not even a play. I have a problem with that, as you guys know. So the original setup I wanted to give you guys is this one right here. That's all I plan on doing, giving you this setup, because you'll see the rest of them in game. Anyways, I'll just show you why I like this setup real quick. You can tell you can have the drag, or you're going to be able to have that crosser, because that streak drag crosser concept is going to clear just about every single zones in the game. And also, you just basically going to make a read on the user. So again, that setup is X on a streak, triangle on a drag, circle on a crosser. And then you also can have this backside angle route if the user is not being honest with this. So notice how we can pass leader right there, and that's what makes this play dangerous, honestly. Now, if they're heavy blitzing you, what I recommend you do is still keep X on the streak. I like to block my running back, or another thing you can do, you can block your tight end. You can lead your running back on that route. You can take a circle, put him on a crosser. And what you can do is actually take square, motion him over, put him on a streak. and then you can take triangle, put them on the drag. Now it's the same thing, but now we're actually blocking the extra man, and now this is just your general PA crosser style of setup. So I don't know why square got bumped, but that happens every now and again, but in a game that's never going to happen, honestly. You guys know that. So this is another setup that I really love, of course, and also this setup is really good versus man as well. But what I was telling you, that this will never happen right here. So notice how he does this, and he kind of just gets this little weird animation. That hardly ever happens. Now, if you see that happen, obviously throw that out there, and that's a one-play touchdown. But under normal circumstances, he's going to be, guarding him up here, and then this crosser is going to be wide open. So that will hardly ever happen when they trail him like that. That's just a practice mode thing. Now, I'll show you versus man coverage. Now, of course, you can run this play stock versus man coverage, but there's so many ways you can beat man. You're going to be able to see that in game, so I'm not going to worry about giving you that. But I'll just show you, this general setup right here. So you can tell R1 can get open, circle can get open. And what's cool is that you also can have square if I'm not getting throw out of sacks. But regardless, let's go ahead and check out this gameplay. All right, so right here we are matched up against the Eagles. Now, this actually is about an 18-minute gameplay clip, and it's pretty much going to be showing you the entire game because it actually came down to the end with this game, but it didn't need to come down to the end, and you're going to see, exactly why I say that. So, one thing about me in a slide offset is it's a good formation, but I learned that this formation is just not for me, and you're going to be able to see that throughout the game because this really is a run first formation. So, notice right there, we could have got a little bit more yard. Well, I think we did good right there with that run play, but one thing about me, though, that I noticed about me is I love to pass the ball. I love to just move the ball down the field. I love to just try to see what defense you're in and see if I can dissect it or not. I am not a runner. Like, I don't I really suck when it comes to running the ball. But right here, this is actually a China end play. So this is actually a really basic setup that I love. So it's basically going to work versus man or zone. So all I did was take circle, put him on a streak, square on a hitch, and we're going to motion that hitch across. So if it's zone, I'm looking at square. But if it's man, I'm looking at triangle or X. But we get it under pressure and accurate, but I felt like we did get the win animation with that corner route. But it's unfortunate. So I thought he was playing man, but it actually was cover 3 match. So cover 3 match can be a little glitchy kind of defense. Like, you can bomb, any cover 3, but if they're putting a deep half and they're playing a match, then sometimes you just have to understand the match rules to understand stuff. As right there, I make a terrible read. So I know it was a terrible read, but actually I was looking at it and I was wondering if they'll let him play it or not, because you guys know, see, that's why I have problems with the RPOs, because sometimes they'll be in the same position that they just was, but they won't let them get an animation on it, or they'll get like a little knockdown animation at the most. But it seems like anytime I throw a risky pass, I literally always throw a pick. So it's like I get punished for throwing risky passes, which you should. You should get punished for throwing risky passes, but I wish it was like that for everybody, So right here, I decided to try to bomb his coverage. I thought he was gonna play a cover 3. He ended up playing it ended up being a match style coverage with that cornerback, how he played it. So it was cover 4 quarters. So we just didn't get the win off the break. So that's the only unfortunate thing, is that you can bomb every coverage out of this particular formation, but it's hard if you don't get the win animation that you want. So right here's my favorite kind of setup right here. So all I did was take circle, put him on a crosser, and my running back put him on a flat. So basically it's designed to kind of give match coverage a couple problems. As right there, we did get a little sticky, man, but we were just unfortunate with that little animation. So I don't know, has that guys happened to you where people will just dive and just automatically get you in just the weirdest little angles? So, and every time I try to dive, my people just dumb out. So maybe it's something I don't know about diving. So if one of you guys are the little gurus who keep up with all the overrated stuff, so yeah, let me know, man. Am I diving wrong? But right there, the tight end is going to be open on the drag, and that's what makes this formation really good, because if you blitz it, you can still use the setup that I give you, because you have quick reads available. So it's going to be really hard on the user to actually take away everything. And also, you can run post stock if they're blitzing you too. It's just be careful running in stock, because most people understand where the routes are going initially, so they're going to be able to do a great job of lurking. As right here, all we needed was a little bit of time, and that crosser is going to be able to run past that safety, because Madden does not let safeties play stuff late, so that's why they just dumb out. They don't have like a built-in match principle, which I think that would make Madden a whole lot better. I think if they had a built-in match principle to where, like, if a route is running past the safety and there's no other threatening route, then they'll take that route. That would make this game so much tougher to play, which to me, tougher game equals funner game, because it's essentially going to make them have to, it's going to make your opponent have to actually put together a good route concept. Because a lot of times, they'll run plays stock, but the problem with running stock plays is that, like, it's only stock, like, those plays are only set up versus certain coverages a lot of times. That's why they are written up that way. So, I like to play the cat and mouse game. I like to play the, not cat and mouse, I like to play the chess game with people. So, right here, this is another thing I like to do. I like to actually motion over that receiver like I'm actually going to put a route concept together. And we're going to get an extra blocker. And that right there frustrated me so bad. I think it was because I was lagging a little bit. You can tell right here, it is showing that it's my connection, you know, it does says a thing with his connection, but that frustrated me so bad because I had the wide open hole. I feel like I could have easily just bent my controller to the right a little bit, and I could have just hit that gap right there. So I assumed I was going to lag out, but I actually did not end up lagging out. So right here we are going to put the read option together. Now I thought about just taking off with Taysom Hill, but I mean when you got AK, you want to feed AK honestly, because they give him so many good animations that I've learned on here. At least from my experience playing the Saints, they let him fight forward for about everything, in my opinion. So right here, he's going to come out in goal line. Now, if your opponent ever comes out in goal line and you're A slot offset, run inside zone. The only way inside zone does not work in A slot offset versus goal line is if they run commit. They have to run commit. If they do not run commit, you'll be able to easily walk in the end zone every single time, and you're actually going to see that here. So I like to do a lot of dummy audibles, like I'm actually going to pass the ball just so they don't run commit. But look, notice how everybody's going to take their man, and then you're going to have a wide open lane. And it's crazy because a lot of people think it's good goal line defense versus A slot offset. Like, if they come out in goal line versus A slot offset, it's terrible. Don't ever do it. So if you see this video and you get anything out of this, don't ever come out in goal line versus somebody's A slot offset when they're on the goal line. Just don't do it. Just find a defense that shoots the gap on the run. Or I actually did put out a video on how I like to kind of deal with A slot offset versus the runs. So if you want to see that, you know, just check my defensive playlist. But right here, I should have drifted out to the pocket to the right, but I actually didn't get the double team I wanted. So I had a nice concept set up to the right side, but it was just unfortunate because I did not get the double team animation that I was looking for. So I was unable to get outside the pocket. So I really hate how Madden's built around escape artists, because it's almost like you need to have a fast quarterback or escape artist. Like, unless you want to sit in the pocket, but they really don't reward you that much for sitting in the pocket unless you have Brady. Now, this is regs, you know what I'm talking about, or even on some MUT teams. Now, right there, the reason why I threw that, I should explain real quick. So, a lot of times, angle routes are going to keep running. So I figured he was going to keep running past that person. So I try to throw him past him, if that makes sense. So I try to throw it out in front of him, and then inside to where I could actually possession catch it, if that makes sense, so I can undercut him. But I just did not get the animation I was looking for. I think you can only do that with like Aaron Rodgers type of quarterbacks, but James Winston, they're not gonna let him do that, and I should have known better than that. So, well, that is why we did throw that pick. So, yeah, I know I could have threw something else, but I just seen it and I was like, it's AK, and I know that, you know, he has a running back apprentice, he has the running back catching stuff, and I was like, I should be able to pass lead this ball in front of him and possession catch it. Nope. But I mean, it's still good because we are up 7, but a lot of times when I throw picks, there's a lot, so some of the times it is me just making a dumb read, which I'll tell you guys, like the bubble screen I threw, what an RPO that I threw, that was dumb. I really shouldn't throw that. I was just testing to see like if that person would play it or not, which I had no business doing that. It's right there, we do find some great run sticks. So like, every now and again I have good run stick, you know, every now and again. So yeah, so notice that I'm up 21-7 right here. So I did want to show you just a little defensive clip real quick. So this is just a standard little coverage I like playing. It's really just cover 3 with a hard flat, but I interchange the vertical hook. I interchange and I make the linebacker play vertical hook, and I play the flat. So watch this right here. So look at this. Who's open, right? So tell me how, you know, tell me how Jalen Hurts can throw those type of passes. So I just want to show you guys, so every now and again I like to show you guys defensive clips where my opponent might score, and I just want to show you like how my opponent scores on me, because it's so consistent. Look at this. Literally, look, my person just literally got burnt straight off the line, like Bradley Roby. Now I understand that's Quez Watkins who has 97 speed, but Bradley Roby has 93 if I'm not mistaken. So you're telling me that 4 speed difference means he gets burnt straight off the line? Now I can understand that Bradley Roby was like 89 speed, you know, maybe 88 speed, but you're telling me he's 93 speed. Quez Watkins is 97, and I just get burnt off the line. Like, to me, that is absolutely crazy. Not even a press animation win. It's right there, my player just falling down and stuff, and then he's dropping those passes. So at this point, I'm like, okay, Madden, what's going on? You know, like, because this is how I be when I play Madden. You know, if you guys were curious, like, I just be like, okay, like, what's going on? Is this the type of day we're gonna have EA where like things just start going south? You know, so it's like anytime you win, you really can't play around, and it's so aggravating. You guys probably know exactly what I'm talking about. It's right there. I really love that route versus man coverage, especially with Juwan Johnson running it, because he's actually low-key like a wide receiver on here, because he just, I don't know, he just seems glitchy to me. He's really fast, and he runs actually really decent routes, because he's always getting separation on his routes. But you guys let me know, man. It's like anytime you're winning and you start playing around and kind of like just, you know, just like I said, playing around, you're trying different things versus different stuff. Just kind of, you know, maybe labbing because you like, okay, you know, like I'm already up. And then next thing you know, boom, game's tied up. You're like, whoa, you know. And then next thing you know, you start getting the worst animations possible. And, you know, to me, it's like, dude, come on, EA. But I mean, it's whatever, you know. But anyways, right here, I was actually really love this concept. So it's basically just a corner route, but I smart routed. Or if you don't have the so basically if you don't have the tight end, slot apprentice with Michael Thomas, you can just smart route the corner route on the post. But I like to actually re-put the corner out just because in case it's man coverage. But it just depends. But it's a good flood concept, and then you have a backside angle route, which is really nice. Now, right here, we are going to run an RPO play, and like I said, I'm not even going to test it out there, because like I like to look at him and see if he can play it or not, and it's really hard to know. You have to just you have to really be in the offense for a while to understand what you can and can't throw versus RPOs, because you have to just look at how they're aligned a lot of times. But the problem is that I just don't, I don't use the same offense a lot, but right there we do find a dot, and that's one of the unfortunate things. So that's also why you see me throw picks a lot and stuff like that, because like I said, as you guys know, I really just cycle through offenses, and I try to find either meta or off meta stuff to show you guys things that I think you might like. It's right there. I mean, look, just guess who? Guess who? I know at this point you're probably saying, "Real, put Marshawn Lattimore on Quez Watkins." I know that's what you're saying, but I was like, I shouldn't have to do that, because Marshawn Lattimore is not as fast as him, but he does have better man coverage or zone coverage. Because I wasn't even playing man, I was playing zone. So it's like, that's how these games are always close for me, So very rarely I would say does opponent just literally dot my face off, Very rarely. It does happen, from time to time. I'm human, I'm not gonna say it doesn't happen where I just get dotted up, but most of the times it's not something I just can't stop. It's not a scheme that I just can't stop most of the time. It's really just an overall type of thing, and it's just a regs issue, So if you play regs, that's just what you have to deal with. Now, MUT, that almost never happens unless the person just spent their whole bank account and you're trying to do a no money spent. Then that's when you have to worry about those things too. But for the most part, you really don't have to worry about that, because then on MUT you could just say, okay, well, I'll just get nothing but great DBs and I'll be fine. I could deal with not getting the pressure as fast or something like that. You have that option too. But that's just what makes, regs kind of hard, because you just can't do certain stuff. Like in MUT, you can probably press as much as you want to. You never have to worry about anything pressing. Even in match coverage, you can press and match. You don't have to worry about anything. So right there, circles is going to get wide open, and then we are going to get a little stick. And then we're going to go in the end zone. So the thing that makes it different is because I like to actually have a scheme involved, and I like to just, pick apart stuff. I like to see what he's in, run plays that attack, and then I like to play that game of chess. A lot of times people will just, oh, hey, that's Quez Watkins on Bradley Roby. I know he's probably faster, so let me just throw the ball up, and let me just keep throwing it until he gets a win animation. So that's why I think about showing defense, because if you guys would have watched this game, you would have seen him just keep throwing the ball deep, and a lot of times my person will make a play on it, get a little swat, whatever the case may be, and then eventually, like the highlight I showed you, where he'll just get like, just a separation on him essentially, and then just completely just run past my 93 speed person. But anyways, this is actually a setup I was telling you about. So when I like to block somebody, so I like to take this crosser route and motion it over too. So now I have an angle route and a crosser route going to the same side. So as long as we get the double team to hold up, we're good. Now I wanted R1 because you could tell he was going to be he was in front. How am I trying to say this? Yeah, he was in front of that linebacker, so I was trying to pass him inside the possession, catch it. But we just ran out of time, and my opponent was really just being aggravating. So what I should have done actually, and I didn't think of till just now, I literally should have just took Teron Armstead, and I should have put Ryan Ramczyk and put them right next to each other, and then actually double team his user. But the problem with doing that, I used to do that in the past, and it never worked like I thought, because a lot of times if you still use that guy, you can still get a bull rush animation, which is absolutely crazy. So I just decided, you know what, let me just take my 3. I'm already up. This will put me up 10 points, and it's already a minute 52 in the game, so I guess I'll just, play it simple and just, play defense. I get one stop, I win. That's what I'm thinking. And it's minute 47. I believe I can stop him as long as I back my players off. So right here, I went man coverage, and just look, man, I went man coverage, and I was like, I didn't even pay attention that that's Marcus Williams. I believe it's Marcus Williams on or that might be PJ Williams. It's one of those Williams. I want to say it was Marcus Williams, but Marcus Williams has 89 speed, and so, I mean, that was my fault. You can say that was my fault, but still, you can tell just how he's scoring. He's literally just throwing nothing but street routes. You haven't seen him, like, actually run a good route concept that's going to attack, my coverages and have, dots up and down the field. You haven't seen that. It's literally just been bombs. Like, the last 3 times he scored has been nothing but bombs. And I think that's how he got all his points on these games. I don't really remember, but he basically was trying to bomb me. So now we're in a little bit of a problem, right? So now we're up 4. Now it's minute 17. He has 2 timeouts, so I really get 1 first down, I win. So right here, I just decided to put together a nice little flood concept with a backside angle route. And if I get this first down, essentially I win, you know? So if I want to milk the clock, I can, because right there we do throw a dot, and we get a great animation right there by Kenny Stills. And now, you know, all we have to do at this point is just run the ball 2 times. So if we run the ball 2 times, get a first down, and he has no timeouts, we win. You know, so right, you can tell I'm running the ball. So I am going to hand the ball off right here. You know, we get an actually nice animation with AK, because AK gets really great animations. He blows a timeout. It's 2nd and 3. I have 1 timeout, right? So I'm like, okay, what do I want to do? Do I want to be annoying, you know, and just, you know, milk the clock, or, you know, what I want to do? So I was like, right here, I guess I'll just get the first down, and I'll decide that in a little bit. So we are going to get the first down, because like I said, it's really hard to stop the Saints. So essentially at this point, I could have just turned 2 clock on and just, you know, ran the ball out. But I was like, you know what, it looks like he's in cover 3. So I'm like, okay, I see 1 high safety. I bet he might run commit, or I bet he's in cover 3. So I was like, you know what, let's run 4 verticals right here. So I took my tight end, put him on streaks. I put everybody on streaks just to simulate 4 verticals. Now watch circle. So I see circle, I throw that inside, and I have to remember that's just J-Bo. Now if I have somebody like Aaron Rodgers, maybe Kyler Murray, somebody who has gunslinger, that is an easy play. Now right here, my opponent, this is the first great route concept he put together, and I don't even think he meant to, because I was in quarters and he ran a deep post, and that's a quarters killer right there, is a deep post. So we are officially in trouble, and we're probably gonna lose, because you know, that was actually the first great, and I don't even think he meant to do that. That was just my fault. I should have put a deep half out there, but I was being aggressive. I actually shaded down underneath to be aggressive on the drags and slants, because I wanted him to try to throw it deep, and that's why I backed my players off, because I wanted to actually get some pass rush. But you know, that was my fault. So you know, if this game ends and I don't, you know, get a game-winning field goal or a game-winning touchdown and I lose, I'm okay with that, actually, because I understand that I messed up that game. I shouldn't have been playing around. That's why I said you really can't play around in this game. So I absolutely have to stop him from getting this 2 points, because if he gets this 2 point, that means he up 4, and I have to get a touchdown. So we have to play great right here. Now, you can tell my user, I thought he was going to throw that little drag or that little in route. He just ran out of time, and my defense finally comes through. And so now at this point, we literally just need to get in field goal range, but we have 16 seconds and we are on the 25. So I made this game way tougher for myself, and that's the lesson to you guys. Try not to play around. I know it's fun to play around, or, you know, if you really don't care, I mean, just play around. But, you know, if you try to keep up with your record, you know, if you care about your record at all, don't play around, because this game is not set up to let you play around, because momentum almost means nothing on the game, because in real life, you know, momentum is kind of like everything. I know it sounds crazy, but momentum is everything. But right there, look at the running back, right? Look at the running back. And I get an under pressure inaccurate, because I was trying to throw it to him in that gap and then actually call a timeout, so that way we can actually have a little bit of time. So we would have been on about the 35-yard line or so, and we would have had 1 timeout left, which I was cool with. But we get nothing out of that. So now right here, I was thinking, okay, let me see if I can try to bomb his coverage. That's why I put square on the streak. So I wanted to see if he was playing like a match style of coverage, but I noticed it was man coverage. And like I said, Juwan Johnson, that man right there can run some routes, and that's against a cornerback right there. So I believe that's Averett. I'm not sure who that is. I can't see his jersey. Who is that? I couldn't see, but anyways, it gets a cornerback, and so John Johnson just came in really clutch right there. So we have 5 seconds. We have 5 seconds to get about 15 yards. So I was like, okay, if he plays man, I'm throwing that corner route, and then we smart right at that corner route. We get a nice little animation, and we are able to toe tap out of bounds at the 1. So you can tell we're 15 for 24, 3 touchdowns. Now I did throw 3 picks, but I really only want to say 2, because only one of those was really my fault. The other one was a questionable read I made, which I didn't have any business throwing. So I guess you could say 2. I think 2 out of 3 was definitely my fault, but the other one I didn't have any control over. But right here, we do have the game-winning kick, so as long as we make this, we're good. We kind of get a good animation right there. And look, they give him a block animation, but he just didn't get the block. And thankfully, we were able to escape out with the win. Now, we should have won a long time ago, but you really shouldn't be playing around with this game, and that was a good example of that. But that's going to wrap it up for this video. I do hope you guys have a blessed day. I'm Rage Real, and I'm out.